Let's talk about Wi-Fi. What is it? Where does it come from? And what's going on with it these days? It seems that it's everywhere and it's being used for lots of applications. So let's go take a look. There's a number of different terms that you might hear. You might hear about wireless LAN. You might hear about 802.11. You might hear Wi-Fi. Are all of these synonymous? Or are there some differences between these terms? Firstly, let's take a look at what it is in the first place. Comparing with other wireless technologies, the range of communications that Wi-Fi supports can be considered to be mid-range. So it's not as short range as technologies like Bluetooth, for example, and those will be within a few meters, cable replacement type technologies. And then on the other hand, you have the longer range wireless like cellular, and that will be on the order of a few kilometers. Besides that, you can have even larger ranges like satellite communications, but we're here talking about terrestrial communications anyway, so mid-range. Considered as a mid-range wireless communication system, we also see the term WLAN or wireless local area network. So Wi-Fi can be thought of from the perspective of being something like the local area networks or LAN technologies that we knew of before Wi-Fi came on the scene. So, before Wi-Fi came on the scene, we are familiar with things like Ethernet. Those are making local area networks possible. Now, then, Wi-Fi can be thought of as a wireless version of local area network technologies. Wi-Fi is seen in all kinds of devices and all kinds of applications these days. We see Wi-Fi in digital camcorders, in computer peripherals, in digital still cameras, portable AV players, portable music players, game consoles, DVD players, DVRs, set-top boxes, TVs, music receivers, home theaters, mobile internet devices, cellular handsets, netbooks, laptops, and so on. So that was the application perspective. From the standards perspective, Wi-Fi is something that comes from IEEE, the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. What is 802? 802 is a set of standards for technologies about networks carrying variable size packets. Within this 802 family of standards, there are various things like, for example, Ethernet, token ring, and so on. Each of them will be like 802.3, 802 for Ethernet. And when it came around to Wi-Fi, it got the number 11. So 802.11 is the standards for Wi-Fi. It's interesting to note that these days 802.11 and wireless LAN and Wi-Fi are almost synonymous, but it doesn't have to be. So in fact, the term wireless LAN is something more general. Before IEEE standardized 802.11, there were a variety of proprietary solutions for wireless LANs, and these were not compatible with each other, didn't really take off because it was like different companies coming up with their own solutions. This is something that therefore took a standard to gather the momentum to actually explode and become what it is today. So we have Wi-Fi everywhere. All right, so that's kind of between wireless LAN and 802.11. So the third term here, Wi-Fi, where does that come in? Well, there is this thing called Wi-Fi Alliance, which is a global non-profit industry association. And this brings in the remaining piece of the puzzle, because you have the standards which allow vendors to manufacture devices that are compatible and work together because they follow the standard. You need one more piece of the puzzle, and that comes from this Wi-Fi Alliance, because with the test suites that they provide, make sure that the devices from various vendors conform to the standards and to certain specifications about certain subsets of the standards, certain features, and that's what really is the missing piece. It allows devices to be certified, and then they can work together. So you can go buy Wi-Fi adapters, access points, which can be made by different vendors, and you see this Wi-Fi certified logo on these devices, you can be assured that they will be compatible, at least up to certain degrees and supporting certain features. Just a quick market overview because it's not really a course about markets, but Wi-Fi today is everywhere, so we see it in more devices than even LTE, which is talking about the cellular side. I mean, LTE is doing pretty well. And it's interesting to note that, for example, travelers, really love Wi-Fi. So you need Wi-Fi to be provided free by a hotel. If not, people might not want to stay there. It could even be a deal breaker, and they will book elsewhere because it's so important for them. But besides travelers, most other people also like to use Wi-Fi. As we see in this chart, there is a capacity gap in terms of mobile data because the demand for mobile data has been increasing and increasing, and it just keeps growing exponentially. And cellular cannot provide it for various reasons. So macro network capacity is limited, and there's this room here then where Wi-Fi has been filling a lot of the gap, and so that's what we see here.